Now, let's continue with our examples on sorts. Number 8, we are to rationalize and simplify in this question. First question here is 15 over root 5. So this will give us 15 over root 5. We multiply both numerator and denominator by root 5 over root 5 by root 5 each. So this will give us 15 times root 5 is what? 15 root 5. Root 5 times root 5. Root 5 times root 5 is root 5 times 5. So root 5 times 5 is root 25. So what does that give us? Square root of 25 is 5. So 15 root 5 over 5 will lead to 3 root 5. 3 in 5 in 15, 3. So we have 3 root 5 over 1 left. And that gives us 3 root 5. Next question is 1 plus root 2 all over root 2. We rationalize by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by root 2. So, put together, this will give this times this like this. 1 plus root 2 times root 2, then root 2 times root 2. Root 2 times root 2, root 2 times root 2 is the same thing as root 2 times 2. So, root 2 times 2 is 4. I've rewritten the previous step since this first on another page. So, root 2 times 2 is root 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And here, the expansion here will be root 2 times 1 will give us root 2. Then root 2 times root 2 will give us root 4. Exactly. Oh, I made a mistake here. I should be writing plus, not times. So, thank God. I saw that. Let me correct it. So this should be plus. Everything here will change. This should be root 2 plus root 4, which will give root 2 plus 2 all over what? 2. If I split denominators, I will get root 2 over 2 plus what? 2 over 2. And that gives root 2 over 2 plus 1. Rearranging, that will give me 1 plus root 2 over 2. That's the answer to question B. In C, we have to do 3 root 2 plus 2 root 3 all over 4 root 2. In rationalizing, all we need to do is multiply the numerator and denominator each by root 2. So root 2 times 3 root 2. This is 3 root 2 times root 2. There's a 1 at the back here. So 3 times 1 will give us 3. Root 2 times root 2 is 4. Can you see that? 3 times 1 here. There's an invisible 1 here. So 3 times 1 is 3. Then root 2 times root 2 is what? Root 4. That gives us 3 root 4 for that step. Here also, we go to the next multiplication. 2 times 1 here will give us 2. Then root 3 times root 2 is what? Root 6. So the square on the denominator side, 4 times 1. Root 2 is the same thing as 1 root 2. This is the same as 1 root 2. So 4 times this 1 is what? 4. Then root 2 times root 2 is root 2 times 2, which is root 4. So that gives us 4 times 2 on the denominator side. This side is 3 times 2 on the numerator. And this remains 2 root 6. So on simplifying, 3 times 2 will give me 6. Can you see that? 3 times 2 will give me 6. And 4 times 2 gives me 8. So if I break the numerator into 2 and divide each term separately, 6 over 8, 3 over 4, then 2 root 6 over 8 will give me root 6 over 8. 2 here 1, 2 here 4. So this will give me root 6 over 4, So my answer is 3 plus root 6 over 4 for C. Now, 8D, 100 over root 5. Excuse me. In 100 over root 5, I need to multiply the numerator by root 5 and multiply the denominator by root 5 to rationalize. So this will give me 100 times root 5, 100 root 5. Root 5 times root 5 is what? Root 5 times 5. Root times root is what? Root. Then 5 times 5 under 8. 5 times 5 under 8 gives me root 25. So 100 root 5 over root 25 is the same thing as 100 root 5 over 5. So this is 5. 5 in 100, that's what? 20. So this gives me 20 root 5. Exactly. That's all for question 8. Question 9 is the same as, question 9 is similar to 8, but just that the denominators are now, having 2 terms. So let's go ahead and do that. First question says 4 root 3 minus 2 root 2 over 1 plus root 2. To rationalize this kind of surds, this is a binomial surd, has 2 terms. So we multiply both numerator and denominator by 1 minus root 2 and 1 minus root 2, which is, this 1 minus root 2 is the conjugate of 1 plus root 2. So 4 root 3 minus 2 root 2, 4 root 3 minus 2 root 2 will be multiplied by 1 minus root 2. Also, 1 plus root 2 will be multiplied by 1 minus root 2. So in each case, I've written the previous step again so you can see it on the new page here. So I'll take 4 root 3, multiply it by the second bracket here, 4 root 3 times 1 minus root 2. I'll also go ahead, take minus 2 root 2, multiply it by the second bracket to get minus 2 root 2 times 1 minus root 2. So my multiplication starts here. 4 root 3 times 1 is what? 4 root 3. Then 4 root 3 times root 2 will give me 4 root 6. You know how I did that? There's an invisible 1 here. So I'll first do 4 times 1, get 4. Then I'll do root 3 times root 2 next to get root 6. So 4 root 3 times 1 root 2 is minus 4 root 6. Here also minus 2 root 2 times 1 is minus 2 root 2. And minus 2 root 2 times minus 1 root 2 is what? Plus 2 root 4. Listen to how I did that. Minus 2 here times the minus 2 here times the 1 behind the root 2 here will give me plus 2. Minus 2 times minus 1 plus 2. Then root 2 times root 2 will give me root 4. On the denominator side, I'll do the same thing. 1 times 1 minus root 2, then plus root 2 here times 1 minus root 2. So 1 times 1, 1. 1 times minus root 2 minus root 2. Root 2 times 1, root 2. Root 2 plus root 2 times minus root 2. I'll do the signs first. Plus times minus is minus. Root 2 times root 2 is what? Root 4. So this gives me 4 root 3 minus 4 root 6 minus 2 root 2 plus 2 root 4 here we change to plus 2 times 2 because the square root of 4 is 2. So here on the denominator side, minus root 2 plus root 2 is 0. So I'll get 1 minus root 4. That's 1 minus 2. Root 4 is 2. So that gives me minus 1. I should check the numerator side to see if there are similar surds. This one is in root 3. This is in root 6. This is in root 2. This doesn't even have a root or surd beside it. So none of this is similar. I cannot add or subtract. I'll have to leave them like that. So, but I can separate the division. 4 root 3 divided by minus 1 separately. Minus 4 root 6 divided by minus 1 separately also. Minus 2 root 2 divided by minus 1 separately. Then plus 4 over minus 1 separately. That gives me my final answer. In B is the same thing. 5 root 2 minus 3 root 3 over 2 root 3 plus 3 root 7. So I'll rationalize using the conjugate of this denominator, the conjugate of this surd. The conjugate of this surd is 2 root 3 minus 3 root 7. All I need to change is the positive sign to minus sign. So I multiply both sides by 2 root 3 minus 3 root 7 like this. So let's go. I'm not going to write all my steps here. I'll take it one by one. 5 root 2 times 2 root 3 will give me 10 root 6. Also, 5 root 2 times minus 3 root 7 will give me what? Minus 15 root 14. You know, 5 times minus 3. 5 times minus 3 to give minus 15. Then root 2 times root 7 to give root 14. On to the next multiplication. Minus 3 root 3 times 2 root 3 will give me minus 6 root 9. You know, minus 3 times 2 minus 6. Then root 3 times root 3, what? Root 9. Exactly. So the next step is minus 3 root 3 times minus 3 root 7. So here I should do minus 3 times minus 3. Minus 3 times minus 3 is what? Plus 9. So root 3 times root 7 will give me root 21. I'll do the same thing on the denominator side to get 12 minus root 63. So I'll simplify. First thing I need to check here on the numerator side is, are there similar sorts? There are no similar sorts. This will just give me, 6 root 9 minus 6 root 9 here, up here. Minus 6 root 9 up here will give me minus 6 times 3. So that's the only breakdown on the numerator side. All other things stay the way they are, because they cannot be further simplified. This can be further simplified. This also cannot be simplified further. So I'll leave each of them the way they are. But here, 4 times 3 is 12. Then 9 times 7 is minus 63. Notice how the middle terms cancel out. Minus 6 root 21 plus 6 root 21 will give you 0. Just like minus 6x plus 6x is 0. So I'll now split the division like I did before. Split the division, separate the division. So this will give me minus 10 root 6 over 51. This will give me plus 5 root 14 over 17. This will give me 3 root 21 over 17. And this gives 6 over 17. Minus over minus is what? Plus. So plus 6 over 17. Question C is the same. 8 plus root 7 over 8 minus root 7. To rationalize, I will use the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of 8 minus root 7 is 8 plus root 7. So I'll multiply the numerator by 8 plus root 7. I'll also multiply the denominator by 8 plus root 7. So in doing this multiplication of numerator by 8 plus root 7, I'll get 8 times 8 plus root 7 here. Then go to the next term. That will give me what? Root 7 times what? 8 plus root 7. So that gives root 7 times 8 plus root 7. So 8 times 8, 64. Plus 8 plus root 7 plus 8 plus root 7. Each of these. 8 times 8, 64. 8 times root 7, 8 root 7. Root 7 times 8, 8 root 7. Root 7 times root 7, root 49. I'll do the same thing on the denominator side to get my answer. Simplify, adding common terms. These are similar terms, So I'll get this on the denominator side and this on the numerator side. So my answer will be 71 plus 16 root 7 over what? 51. So I can separate this into 71 over 51 plus 16 root 7 over 51. Lastly, 7 root 5 minus 3 root 2 all over 2 root 3 plus 3 root 7. You check this carefully too. It's the same thing that we have done in D. It's all simple and straightforward. Let me give you an exercise to to practice. Let's just go. Classwork. Let's use exercise. Rationalize and simplify each of the following. 2 root 5 plus 4 root 3 all over 1 plus root 2. Let's make this number 2. 3 root 2 minus 2 root 6 all over 2 root 3 plus 3 root 2. 4 is okay. I'll just give you 4. 1 plus root 5 over 2 minus root 3, then 4. Lastly, 2 minus root 6 over 7 root 3 plus 5 root 2. So, rationalize each of these and simplify as much as possible to get your answers.